Hello, everybody. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Alheri, and I work at Google. I'm super duper excited to be doing this today. We're going to be talking about smart creatives, and from my understanding, many of you joining have also had some sort of background. So I'm just really grateful and happy to be here talking with each and every one of you today. So I will go right into the slides, which I believe are presenting already, and we're all good to go on the tech side. Let me give just a few seconds in case you need to grab a notebook, grab a pen, you want to take notes, or however best you learn. Let's just give 30 seconds for people to sort of, get comfortable. Cool? Cool. Okie dokies. So I hope you have your notebooks and your pens and so on. I'll try my best not to speed through, but Q&A times have been baked into the presentation. So we'll stop, take questions, go back, come forward, and whatever would be best for everybody to learn. My aim today is to make sure that when you leave this call in the next 1 hour, you have a very solid understanding of smart creatives and you feel well set up on your way to success. So part of that, of course, is going at sort of everybody's pace and just making sure that, we understand and we're following. So yeah, without further ado, let me carry on. All right, so my name is Alheri, as I said. I'll be your trainer for today's webinar. This webinar is part of the Google Digital Skills Training Program called Google Digital Garage. Just a bit about myself. I am an agency account strategist working on the sub-Saharan Africa market. So a lot of my clients are based in South Africa, and many of my interactions, as you can imagine, in this season have been on video conferencing and over the internet. So presentations are just sort of my day-to-day living now. I'm very excited to be, teaching you this today because it truly is something I think about, talk about, teach, pitch in some form or another several times a week, if not every day. I'd also like to introduce you to our moderator, Emma. Emma is a Google Digital Garage coach, and she'll be interacting with you and answering some of your questions via the instant chat to the right. You can identify Emma by her name as well as the little blue spanner next to her name. So I'm pretty sure you all can see Emma's name as well as the blue spanner by her name. So hi, Emma. If you're having any trouble viewing the webinar, I'll just ask if you could please refresh your page, refresh your browser, try refreshing now, that should work. If you would like to join the instant chat, you need a YouTube account, which you can very easily set up by clicking in the box on the right there to set up your YouTube account. As I said earlier, we will be pausing throughout to answer more complex questions. So feel free to add your questions in the chat. If there's anything I say that you want more explanation on, just put it there so you don't forget. And then when we break for questions, I'll have a chance to guide you through whatever your concerns or your questions are. And then just to let you know as well, we're running this Google Digital Garage as part of a broader offering of courses. So if you'd like to check out our schedule for upcoming webinars, please see information in the description below with links to our website. Feel free to share your experience as well on social media. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell people who would be interested, which really should be everyone, because honestly, the world is going digital, using the hashtag Digital Garage. Finally, if you have any feedback from the session today, please complete the feedback link. It's linked in the description box. And once you complete the link, once you complete the form, a link will appear for you to download a PDF of today's content. So you do the feedback, you get the PDF, and then the webinar will be live for the rest, for 24 hours for you to rewatch. So cool, housekeeping all done, all done. Most important thing I would say, questions in the chat box, feedback form, you get the PDF of today's content, and then you can rewatch the webinar live for the next 24 hours. Okie dokie, so let's zoom right into it. I have a quick icebreaker activity. So in order for us to get used to the chat functionality, would we please take a moment, a few minutes? I want to hear about what you do with what you do to connect with your audience online. Hopefully this is a more constructive icebreaker than what did you have for breakfast or your favorite ice cream flavor. Just tell me quickly in the chat, what do you do to connect with your audience online? And yeah, so comment in the chat box, and then we'll have a brief chat around what people say. So I'm waiting for your comments. Okie dokies. All right. So I can see some answers are coming in. Some people say they connect on Facebook, so I'm supposing broadly social media to connect with your audience. Okay, that's good. Someone says I work in a very niche market, so I use LinkedIn mostly. That's from Jennifer. All right, Jennifer, thank you. Someone says Facebook and Instagram, so social media again, and then interactive. Well, YouTube. Okay. So I suppose we have a mix. So someone says social media. Okay. Yeah. GMB, so Google My Business, I believe, and then social media. Okay. All right. I love this. Someone from the National Theatre School of Ireland. Google, Facebook, Insta ads, social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter, Snapchat, all the things. Yeah, I love that. I love that. All right. Does anybody connect on email? On email, or does anybody still connect on print? Do we still have any sort of print marketing? That was super popular. Maybe not anymore. I'm just curious to see. Okay, dokies. All right. Someone says, yes, respond to messages from clients via email or social media. Kitten's cushion. Okay, that's good. So I suppose then the first step would be to connect on social media, and then you respond to inquiries on email and on social media as well. Okay, that's good. Thank you everyone for your answers. So today's session, we will discuss how to use smart creatives in order to get more creative, more engaging, and more relevant ads for your customers. Smart creative, truly, as I said earlier, I work as an agency account strategist. So I truly have seen smart creatives change businesses and really help agencies give more value to their clients, as well as help clients get more value for their advertising. So I'm just really excited to be walking you through and teaching you about smart creatives. So in the past, we will explore the ways, today's session, we will explore the ways where you can tailor your ads to your users and your audiences using responsive search ads. Then we'll take a look at dynamic search ads and how those can help you drive traffic to your sites. Then we'll discuss top tips for optimizing your ads for better display performance. You don't have to remember all the terminology, responsive search ads, dynamic search ads, and so on and so forth. Everything will become more clear as we go ahead. So next slide, using responsive search ads. So this is the first of the smart creative formats we're going to be talking about. If you're taking notes, now is a good time to write responsive search ads underline. All right. So we've heard today about the work you do to reach out to your customers online, but I would like for us to just take a few moments to put yourself in your customers and your users' shoes by summarizing their behavior, right? So previously in that breaker, some people shared that you connect with your customers on social media, on email, all my apologies on that. Am I back on? Can someone just let me know if we're back on and good to go now? I sort of just saw everything go black. Okie dokie. So cool, we're back. I'm so sorry. I have no idea what happened. The screen just went black. But I'll carry on. Thank you, Emma. So I was asking if you would please take some time to tell me in the chat box how you would describe your users today. So are they really nice? Are they super impatient? Okay, I shouldn't give you any ideas, but just tell me, how would you describe your users today? Any adjectives or verbs, or yeah. Let's wait a second to see what people say about their customers today. And it doesn't have to be either negative or positive. It can just be a mix of both. Like, in general, how would you describe your users today? I'm waiting. Please let me know. All right, I can give a few. So some of the people, some of the users I know, or even me as a user, I want things done now. So if I order something, I kind of want it immediately. I think today's users have also become accustomed to having things done at their fingertips. And then I don't know if this is a myth or not, but I would imagine that today's users are much more research. They do much more research. And just want to know the ins and outs of every product. Let's see. So we have some. Do we have any answers yet? Okay, so someone says, Lavinia says, happy customers tend to be short in their feedback, while if anyone's unhappy, they're cruel. Okay. The Gaiety School of Acting says they like to compare and research. Yes. Kitten's Cushion says they're impatient. Okay. Holmes says they're cautious, especially since COVID-19. Yeah. Yeah. I think that would describe most of us, actually. Imagine you go to a restaurant, the food is really good. You just be like, oh, really nice food, nice service, thank you, thank you. But then if the food is bad, you will take time to be like, the steak was not well cooked, the mashed potatoes were too hard, it was too salty, would all be much more specific when we're giving negative feedback. So I suppose it's all of us, we're all on this table together. But then now let's see how we can reach. The aim really is to see how we can reach these customers of today. How best do we reach them, right? So some really great answers from all of you around being cautious, especially since COVID, impatience, the feedback. And in today's world, our users actually are more curious, demanding, and impatient than ever before, as we've captured. This is because we all are empowered by modern technology, so we can get exactly what we want whenever we want it. This is a completely new type of consumer. In terms of curiosity, do you know that there's been an 80% increase in the number of searches for best? So people are more hungry and they want to have the very best service. Additionally, over the past 2 years, there's been a 60% increase in searches ending with "for me" and "near me." So people don't only want to see the best service offerings, they want to see the best offerings curated to them or close to them. And then this is completely mind-blowing. There's been a 150% growth in searches for "near me" now. So both the proximity and the timing. People want things that are closest to them right now. So we're here today to really solve how to cater to this audience and to make sure that we're not missing out on, potential customers just because we're not keeping abreast with research on how our customers today are. All right, so now that we've met our new breed of consumer, all of us, how do we meet their needs and attract our desired audience, right? So the first thing we have to do is we need to ensure that they receive the right messaging and the right communication. Think about it. You don't want to have a fantastic product that nobody knows about because they want the best product now, and you can give them the best product and you can give it to them now. Nobody knows about you. We don't want that. So we have to make sure that we're giving customers the right message across multiple devices, which is what they want. Customers want to receive quick, relevant messages no matter where they are. When you think about it, right, as creative formats evolve, it's more important now than ever to have a strong creative strategy that takes into consideration your audience, your messaging, your formats, and more. So think about Black Friday is coming. You don't want to be showing Christmas ads during Black Friday. You don't want to be showing winter ads during the summer. So your messaging has to be timely, has to be sensitive, and has to be cross-channel. So you also want to make sure that you test what works and you optimize accordingly. So this is precisely where Google can help, especially Google automation. All right, so let's take a look now at some of the, let's take a look now at some of the blockers that we encounter as we try to reach our customers, right? So apart from things like people being impatient and so on, what are the more technical challenges we face when we try to connect with our customers? Number one, voice search is increasing the complexity of search in the ecosystem. Artificial intelligence agents are able to provide many answers. You just pick up your phone. Where is the nearest coffee shop? Where can I book a hotel? That's already seizing a high share of search volume. In Google specifically, 20% of Google searches, and then for Windows, 25% of Windows 10 taskbar searches are voice-based. So voice searches fundamentally change how consumers search for information, how they receive information. And for us in the digital landscape, voice searches change the role of SEO and marketing activity. So only 15% of, only 15% of daily searches on Google are new. So there's quite a lot of work to do to provide users with the best answer to their queries. Additionally, websites have become much more complex. Keyword lists are growing rapidly, and it's so difficult now more than ever to reach your potential consumers. So just in summary, people are searching more and more voice. Websites are getting more complicated. SEO is becoming more complicated. How do you, as an advertiser, stay afloat? And remember, we've spoken about the best messaging at the best time. How do you make sure that you're really, really giving people the value that you have to offer, right? How do you make sure that your value is indeed coming through? All right, so now this is where I would like us to begin to think about responsive search ads and smart creatives as a whole, for us to see how these help us to mitigate some of the challenges I mentioned earlier. Just one slide. So with all of this in mind, with everything I've said, what are responsive search ads? This is where this is what I'd like us to gain now. What are responsive search ads, and why do we even have to use responsive search ads? So how do you think, as an advertiser or as a business owner, please tell me in the chat box, how can we reach customers more effectively? So you already told me how you reach customers already. Now, please tell me how you can reach them more effectively. And also, if anyone has an idea what smart creatives are, feel free to pop that in the chat as well. So 2 questions. How do you reach customers more effectively? Or do you think you're already reaching them the best way possible? And then also, what are smart creatives? Do we have any answers? Do you have any answers for how we can reach customers more? Okay. Okie dokie. So I suppose this is exactly where smart creatives comes in, right? So I'll be able to give you some ideas of how you can reach your customers more effectively. All right. So let me go in now and talk to you about specifically what smart creatives ads do. We'll start from responsive search ads. So responsive search ads, as the name implies, are search ads where you can easily adapt the messaging and advertising to show more text and more relevant messages to your customers. So here's how I explain responsive search ads. I live in, let's say I am somewhere close to the Google office in Dublin. So let's say I am in Grand Canal, someone else is in Rathmines, someone else is on O'Connell Street, all locations here in Dublin, Ireland. And we each search best coffee shop near me. The best coffee shop near me is going to be different from what the person in Rathmines sees and from what the person in O'Connell Street sees. Why? Because with smart creatives, you can adapt your creative to respond to exactly where your customers are and exactly what your customers are looking for. So we may all see the same coffee company, but we're all going to see different branches. We're all going to see who can deliver coffee to us right now. Let me give another example. Let's say each of us wants to buy a pair of shoes. I'm here in Grand Canal. Someone else is on Abbey Street this time. Another person in Phoenix Park. And we're all shopping, trying to find best pair of shoes. We all may see the same brand. So we all may see, let's say, one of your businesses, for example, but the specific ad we see has been catered to each and every one of us based on our location, right? And based on what our search behavior is. That is a responsive search ad. In the past, where you'd see something like nice shoes for sale, just an example. Now with responsive search ads, you can have different descriptions, different headlines, and depending on what someone is searching, they see the best combination of a headline and a description that caters to their need, right? So best shoes that show up for me, because of Google search and so on, the system knows that I'm looking for trainers. Someone else has been searching for stilettos. Someone else has been searching for winter boots. So what we see then, let's say we go on a website that has trainers and stilettos and winter boots, what we see is catered to each of our searches, right? And then additionally, with responsive search ads, let's say you're doing ads for a particular season or for a particular event, right? You can tailor your ads then to announce things like 20% off, it's a sale, new stock, or old stock must go. We have really good sales. So I hope we're kind of getting the hang of responsive search ads and smart creatives as a whole. So the ad text is tailored, the ad messaging or the ad text is tailored to whoever is searching and answers to their needs per time, per situation, right? Cool. Let me know in the chat if you're following or if this is sort of coming together for you. Secondly, we'll talk about dynamic search ads. So think about a big e-commerce website. Let's say your website, you sell shoes, you sell bags, you sell jeans, you sell trainers, you sell all kinds of apparel, of clothing apparel on your website. On a dynamic search ad, what happens is when I search shoes, or I want to buy cool winter outfit, and I'm taking to, maybe your website comes up in the search. What happens on a dynamic search ad is that the ad text I see and the URL is directly related to the page on the website, right? So let's say there's a page on your website that has the best winter outfit for 2020, just an example, or the best deals for right now. I'm here searching best deals. The dynamic, the ad that comes up is going to show me keywords that you have on your website already. The ad text that comes up is going to show me the best page on your website where I can find all the information I need. So dynamic search ads work very closely with your website to ensure that when your customers search for you, the ad text is taking them precisely to where they can find the best information. Responsive search ads make sure that whenever they search for you, they get the best messaging. I hope we're kind of getting the hang of it. Feel free to make comments as well in the chat box. So now we've thought about it, right? What are the main benefits? All of these machine learning, what are the benefits? You're able to work faster. So instead of creating 10 different ad types, here you do 5 descriptions, 5 headlines, and then you put a few different URLs to your website, such that wherever someone is searching from, whoever is searching, they're able to get the best messaging tailored to them. With your dynamic search ads now, they're able to get the best page on your website that responds to whatever they need. Cool. We're gonna go into more depth, so just follow along. If anything is unclear now, it's going to be clear, I guarantee you, as we go along in the training. Let's take some time now to dive into responsive search ads. So responsive search ads automatically test and optimize different combinations of set ad assets using machine learning. As I said earlier, with the example of the coffee buyers, right? So with your responsive search ads, you in Rathmines, you see something different from someone in Grand Canal, from someone on Phoenix Park, right? And then with your, let's see, so the rest of that says, and ultimately serve the right ads to the right consumers, to the right customers, my apologies, on Google search, just as I've explained. Your responsive search ad would make sure that you're showing the right ad to the right person at the right time. Isn't that just so amazing? So the main benefits, I would say, and these are, as I mentioned earlier, these are products I use day to day. These are things I interact with a lot. So I've also seen them iterated and reiterated many different times. I've also seen them adapted for retail clients. I've seen them adapted for finance clients. I've seen them adapted for just different. Thinking about the clients I work with now on a day-to-day. I work with retail, I work with finance, I work with people who do home cleaning, all kinds of clients. And I've seen responsive search ads work really well across board because they're just super flexible, right? One of the biggest benefit I would say is just the flexibility you have as an advertiser, as an agency owner, to make sure that people see exactly what they're looking for. Secondly, responsive search ads are extremely optimizable, right? So the system literally continues to learn, and it says, oh, this headline performs really well. This one doesn't perform so well. Therefore, I'm going to show this particular headline because it's getting me the most conversions. This description works really well. This one not so much. Therefore, this headline combination, this description combination with this URL work fantastically well. And then the system continues to optimize. Imagine how much time it would take you as a human being to sit down and calculate optimization scores and so on. And now responsive search ads do that for you. Finally, you get better results with your responsive search ads. So just research has shown that you do get a 10% increase in clicks and conversions as you implement responsive search ads, probably because people are seeing the right messaging at the right time in their own context, right? And then, as I've mentioned as well, responsive search ads just save us so much time. So much time, right? Okie dokies, and now let's go into optimizing your responsive search ads. Or you might be saying, okay, sounds good, how do I make it happen? What do I do, Alheri? First thing you need to think about is, let's run through the headings on the screen now. So adding headlines. When you start let me think of a business we can use. Let's say someone is a flower shop online, and I say flower shop because I literally looked out my window and there's a beautiful tree. So let's say you sell flowers online. Your headlines can be something like, buy your flowers, or flowers for sale, or 20% off best flower shop in Dublin. So you add your headlines. When you go into your Google Ads account and you go to create your ads, you add your 5 headlines. Then you're able to reuse existing content as well. I should say, not everything has to be new. Not everything has to be like, super brand, like super innovative at that particular point in time. You're able to reuse headlines you have, because remember that each of your headlines is checked and cross-checked and optimized even by the system. Then you're also able to utilize your keywords. If you check your best performing keywords, then you know what people are looking for, you know what converts well, you know what works well. And then as well, you're also able to improve your ad strength based on optimization, right? Then you want to add as many headlines and descriptions as possible. You can even supply up to 15 headlines and four descriptions as your asset. So I would also caveat and say it's important to not use too many redundant descriptions. It's important to vary it. So think about looking through your keyword list and saying, okay, what's working well, what's not working well, and then based on that list, then you create the best descriptions of the best headlines that would work for you. Another trick I always give my agencies is look at your website. Take a good read through of your website. What do you say you do? If you say you offer your delivery is turnaround time is 24 hours, or your flowers are the best in the market, add those things as your description. So use what you already have, right? Use what you have already created, and then let the system do the rest for you. Then, as I said earlier, provide at least the best number of headlines. A good caveat is to provide at least 8 to 10 headlines, and then at least 5 unique headlines, as I've said. So let's say we look at our keywords to give us 5 ideas of headlines. We look at our website to give us 5 more ideas of headlines. Then have other headlines that don't include your keywords, so that you're really, really sort of casting your net as broadly as you can. Then highlight as well important information. What's your unique selling point? Now is the time to really, really tell customers why they need to use your service and nobody else's, right? Let me quickly take some time now to explain the existing. So if you have existing ads, let's say you have expanded text ads, for example, or you have regular text ads, you can also take a look at what worked well on those text ads, what worked well on those expanded text ads, and then add those to your responsive search ads. This just goes a little bit more in depth into using keywords for your responsive search ads. So let's say you have a digital camera as your keyword. So a good headline then would be best compact camera for travel, or best digital camera for portrait photography, best handheld digital cameras on the go, light digital camera. So just think about when someone is buying a digital camera, what do they want to see? I'm pretty sure you know this more than I would, for example, because you run these businesses today, right? Then you may also want to consult your keyword planner, which you can do good keywords to use, the best keywords that are performing well, relevant keywords to use for your business. Yeah. I hope people are following. I hope we're all following. So now it's important for us to just a moment now to bring it all together, right? We've spoken about responsive search ads, saving you time, saving you effort, the messaging. We've spoken about how to create a responsive search ads, looking through your website, your keywords, your existing ads, and just, completely new descriptions and headlines. The objective, always think about it as, I have good ads, now I want to have the best ads, right? The point is to have good ads, and then using your good ads to go from good to great, Always think about it that way, or from good to excellent, or from good, better, best, right? So main things I would highlight: create very specific ad groups. The more specific, the better. As we said earlier, today's customer is impatient, right? Choose your keywords carefully. Go through and see what are the best performing keywords. And create simple but attractive ads. Everybody wants to know that they're getting the best offering. Everybody wants to know that your product is the best in class. So be very mindful and very intentional, I would say, about the wording you use and how you create your ads. Then you should regularly review your campaigns as well, right? To just make sure that you are, to make sure that your campaigns are performing well and that what you're offering is giving you the return you want. It's a good idea, maybe once a month, to go through your responsive search ads, take a look at what headlines have worked well, what descriptions performed particularly well, and how you can improve or optimize descriptions that may not have performed well. I can see that there's some questions. So Kitten's question is asking, does Smart Creative use my browser and search history in order to come up with the ads that are most relevant to me? Then is using responsive search ads a way to stop hiring digital marketing professionals to manage the ads in terms of budget management? How effective are they? And then can a customer review be used as a headline? For example, are Harry's flowers at best? These are all really good questions. I'll just quickly touch on them. So as I mentioned earlier, I do work with agencies. So one of the biggest pushbacks we got with responsive search ads is, this is going to take me out of a job. But the thing is, when I think about my agencies 2 years ago and now, they have so much more time to do more strategy, more business, to handle bigger parts of their clients' businesses. So think about it. You go from a Google Ads account manager to becoming a creative partner with your customer. You go from spending all your time optimizing ads, reading through, trying to figure out the best wording for your ads, to becoming a true digital marketer. You have more time to look at trends. You have more time to look at what's happening in the industry, and you have more time to give strategic business advice, right? So you have more time to just take on bigger challenges, such as how do we truly grow this business? How do we truly provide the best services? How do we truly create creative that wins, instead of optimizing ads? So I would say that it doesn't in any way put you out of a job. As a matter of fact, it makes you a stronger asset to your customers, to your clients, and even to yourself as a business owner. Then does it use your browsing history and your search history to come up with the ads that are most relevant to you? So you know how you can use remarketing, which shows if someone has searched in the past and then has now converted. Your responsive search ad works similarly. So if someone has searched in the past for example, best coffee, and they know that I like to drink a Frappuccino, just an example, based on my search, then the responsive search ads are more catered to me and what my own needs are. Then someone says, would you recommend to just look and solely have responsive ads? I would say a good mix is good. So responsive search ads, expanded text ads, and then dynamic search ads. So a good mix of those in different ad groups and within your campaigns is always good. Then, all right, so back to the slide you see on your screen. A few things to consider, right? When setting up your ads for ad strength, you should run through these criteria. So your location, the browser, day of the week. For example, since I work with a lot of finance customers, I've noticed that Mondays are especially good. I don't know if it's because people overspend over the weekend, and then on Monday they're like, oh my goodness, what did I do over the weekend? How much money do I have? Then they're searching then for best bank accounts to open, most generous loans, best interest rates, and so on. Your intent audiences are also a really good indicator. The operating system, if someone is using Android or another operating system, what are people searching? What time of day do your ads perform really well? People would most likely want coffee in the morning versus in the evening when they may be heading home or done with work. The search query as well, return visitors, then the device people are searching from. We do see that behavior on phone or on like a mobile phone is different from behavior on laptop and so on, and then your past performance. Okie dokie. So I already took some questions in the past. So would it be okay if we sort of just power through, and then we have a Q&A time coming up, and we have another Q&A time baked in after just a few slides. So that's cool with everyone, since I already touched on the question you had in the chat. All right, now let's go into dynamic search ads. So dynamic search ads, as I mentioned earlier, really help you to showcase the good work you've done on the website and tie that into your ads. So I have wonderful information on my website. Nobody's visiting my website. Well, nobody knows you have the wonderful information on your website. Dynamic search ads help you solve for that. So they allow you to gain incremental reach by letting machine learning and web crawling technology determine where and when your ads should show. And then they also dynamically generate targeted and effective ads. All of that is to say, dynamic search ads, or DSAs, is the easiest way for your customers to find something they're searching for on your website, right? So it's ideal for people who have a wide product range. Remember the example I gave earlier about apparel. So people who maybe use apparel, you have shoes, you have dresses, you have handbags, and so on your website. Dynamic search ads are a really good way to fill in the gaps of your keywords, because remember we said earlier that at least 20% of search behavior is completely new. Dynamic search ads solve for that novelty because they enable people to see the best source of information on your website, right? They match the keywords with your website to make sure that there are no gaps in knowledge and in searches. All right, so when someone searches a product on Google, right, your dynamic search, as I said earlier, crawls closely to the titles of this product. So here I'll take a pause and say, it's very important to name your product correctly. And if there's anybody here who you've been planning to optimize your website, you've been planning to improve your website, now is a good time to do so, because dynamic search ads work exceptionally well when you have a good website for them to rely on. Now is the time to take a look at all your pages, all your products, all your offerings. Make sure that they're up to date. Make sure that they're well labeled. Make sure that they're in the correct location, in the correct categories, and so on and so forth. So that when you have your dynamic search ads, you're not misleading people and thereby losing customers. So let's say someone searching for a luxury hotel in Dublin would see your ad with the headline luxury hotel Dublin. Because the ad is exactly what they're searching for, there's that much more chance of them actually clicking versus if they saw Dublin hotels. You see what I mean? Because as we said earlier, your customers, they're very impatient. They want the best information right now. All right. So here we're going to talk about how you target customers using dynamic search ads. So let us see. So you can see now on this slide showing on the page that it's dynamic, just as the name says. So the website, so it shows you, I mean, for each and every one of us, when you go into Google search and you search, it would actually be a really interesting exercise to do. Where can I find what I see will be different from what you see, from what anybody else sees, because my search behavior is different from your search behavior and so on. So if you're new to dynamic search ads and you want to test it out, you can create a URL. So equals targets of your website's homepage, and then you can see what comes up, which would give you an idea of what your customers see, or give you an idea of what users see when they search for your website, right? And then you can also see different categories. As I said earlier, your landing pages from a standard ad group, make sure that your landing pages are clean, your categories are clean, your website is clean and functional, right? Then you can direct users to target pages by utilizing the page feed functionality. So your page feed will enable you to upload a spreadsheet for the most focused and controlled targeting. Then you can target your entire feed or parts of your feed when you use your dynamic search ads. All of that gets a little bit technical, but it is very self-explanatory when you go through the process of setting up your dynamic search ads. I've had a few advertisers who literally have maybe no knowledge at all on how to set this, but then going through the steps in your Google Ads account, it's very simple to complete. All right, so overview of using dynamic search ads. What are the benefits? similar to responsive search ads, saves you a lot of time. A lot of time. Imagine having to match every single ad with every single page on your website. Not realistic. Dynamic search ads save you all of that time. It also enables you to show relevant and auto-generated headlines with your ads, such that you don't have to work on the headlines. The system, machine learning, literally crawls your website and finds the best text to show to an advertiser per time, right? Then it helps you to control your ads as well. Your ads are related to exactly what you have on your website. So you can rest assured that people aren't seeing random ads, but they're seeing ads that are very relevant to you. Then you capture additional traffic. Remember the traffic that's coming through because we have all these new searches, all these new keywords that your business simply couldn't have catered to. Dynamic search ads will help you to capture that traffic. So let's see now how you can implement responsive search ads with your dynamic search ads. So with your responsive search ads, you can use your incremental reach on your current keywords, as I said earlier, to further penetrate your existing customer base. Responsive search ads are really, really good for people who are already maybe your audience, similar audiences, or when you're trying to just grow your audience. Dynamic search ads are really good for people who could potentially be in your audience, but maybe never even have engaged with your business, right? So think about it as responsive search ads help me to provide the best messaging to people who kind of fall into my keyword set. Dynamic search ads help me present the best messaging to people who fall a little bit outside my keyword search. That's a really simple way to think about it. All right, so we have time now for a few more questions. If you have questions, please quickly drop them in the chat. Let's take a look. I can take maybe one or two because I do, the presentation is very, very thorough. So many of your questions will be answered by virtue of going through the presentation. All right, let's see. Okie dokies. Let's move on, and then if you have questions, I'll just bake them into the presentation. So now we've spoken about search. Let's talk about improving your display performance. All right. So with responsive display ads work very similar to responsive search ads. The main difference is that now you're adding your display assets, which would be your images, right? So think about a responsive display ad as a responsive search ad plus image, responsive search ad plus image. So that's I don't want to overcomplicate it, but responsive display ad literally is the same assets, the same description, headline, and so on that you use on your search ad. Now you're only adding the images, right? So the benefits of responsive display ads are similar to the benefits of responsive search ads. You save time, you complement other campaigns. Imagine now seeing a search ad as well as an ad that has images. That just gives your customers a strong idea of what you have, a strong idea of your offering, right? And then you're also able to get broader reach because we do know that people might begin their search journey on Google search, but they continue their search journey on display. So when they're using the internet or going on their favorite websites, then they see your responsive display ads with not just your power messaging, but also fantastic creative assets, fantastic images that draw them in that much closer. All right, final thing I would introduce today will be smart display campaigns. Smart display campaigns, I think about them as responsive display ads with smart bidding built on them. So we have responsive search ads, dynamic search ads, responsive display ads being responsive search ads plus images, smart display campaign being all of those assets now with Google Smart Bidding. I know that many of us may already be familiar with Google Smart Bidding, but just for those who aren't, Smart Bidding is literally where you allow your system to optimize your accounts for you, utilizing the best of Google machine learning, right? So your system is able to say, this is a good ad to show in the morning versus this is a good ad to show in the evening. Now your system is not only optimizing for time of day, location, device, context, and so on, it's also optimizing and showing the best possible assets. That's sort of how all of these different kinds of ads come together in your smart creatives. All right, so smart bidding, as I said, is real-time optimization at scale. So instead of you going in to increase your bid and increase let's see, your bid, your conversions, do I want to pay 20 euros for this or 10 euros for this? You leave all of that to the system, and you truly allow your system to give you the full benefit, like the full suite of the best technology really in advertising. So we managing the funnel with automation. So I would say your Google Ads data and your site content, think responsive search ads, dynamic search ads. Smart bidding handles the prediction and the targeting combinations. So demographic, this is a female in this age range, they're a student versus they've had this particular move. And we know that people's spending patterns change as they go through different seasons of life as well. So smart bidding and all of the machine learning, not just in your smart creative, but also in your smart bidding, combined to make sure that people are seeing the best asset possible for them at that given moment in time, right? Then automated creatives also visually enhance your brand presence. Remember when I mentioned about the responsive display ads and also seeing those different kinds of assets, showing people the best asset for them at that particular point in time, right? So I'm kind of going through these slides because we had a really strong introduction in explaining responsive search ads, dynamic search ads, and many of these things, I want you to think about them as an add-on, right? They're just an addendum. When you have that solid foundation, now you're simply adding smart bidding, and then you have a highly optimized, well-performing campaign or highly optimized, well-performing account. Okie dokie. So setting up your smart display campaign is really easy. The interesting thing is sometimes I find with agencies, people doubt if it would work because of just how easy it is. So do you really mean all I have to do is do my target CPA? Yes. And give you a campaign budget? Yes. And give you the creative assets? Yes, indeed. So I think the simplicity of it sometimes baffles people, but the performance just is mind-blowing, right? Because you're really, really leveraging the technology you have available to make sure that you're reaching your potential customers in the best way possible at the best time, or at the right time, so to speak. All right, so you provide your target CPA, your budget, your assets. Google provides your access to the GDN inventory. So all of the websites where Google display ads show, right bid for the right user, as I said, and then creative builds for each specific option. Then setting up your smart display campaign, as I said, and it's very self-explanatory. So I don't want to overcomplicate on this presentation. If you go through your account, set up new campaign, smart display campaign, it takes you through the steps. You give your budget. Let's say I want to do 1,000 rands a day, 500 rands a day, 5,000 rands, 5,000 euros a day, 1,000 euros a day. Wherever you're at, you can set your budget, you set your bid, you maximize your creatives, your best assets, then you wait. You give the system some time to learn, and it optimizes your campaign for you. Then remember I said earlier, it's a good idea to go back and take a look at your campaign and how it's performing and so on and so forth, right? Then I would also say it's a good idea to allow your CPA bid run for some time. I usually recommend 10 to 14 days because machine learning requires learning, right? So you have to give your ads some time to suss out the market, how are people responding, what's the volume like, and then maybe after 10 to 14 days, you can then review the volume you've had or review the conversions you've had come through and see where to optimize, see where to maybe increase your bid, maybe change your creative and so on. But it's a good idea. 10 to 14 days is my rule of thumb working with agencies over the past few years. Then we have a quick case study to go, and all right. So let's see the marketing efforts of Trivago. All right, so here's what they did, right? I'm just going to make my... I hope everyone is following. I hope everyone is doing well so far. Okay, this is a really solid example, actually. What did they do? Best holiday deals, and then they also added, I'm just putting in so that I can see, they added their hotel comparison, and then they compare hotels and save. So that's, yeah. Let me just, give me 1 second. Let me make this a little bit bigger so that I can see. Okay, so the headlines, as an example, they said, find great hotel deals. Remember earlier we were talking about shoes, or flowers and so on. Then hotel comparisons, and then compare hotels and save, headlines. Description, now you go more in depth into what to expect, right? Then you compare your hotels and, you get the lowest price for your room. The whole idea here is keep your headlines as action-packed. Use good verbs. So find great hotel deals, hotel comparisons, compare hotels and save. Once I see that, I'm already thinking, let's go for it. In your description now, you give people a little bit more. So 19% on hotel, more detail, compare 1.3 million hotels and find your ideal hotel, get the best price for your room. So I hope we can see the difference. Your headline should be as simple, as straightforward, and then you can go a bit more in depth in your description. All right, so we're at the end. Do we have any questions? I think I can take 1 or 2 questions. I have tried to be as explanatory or as thorough, but I will say, before we even go back to questions, I'll just mention that your learning doesn't stop here. This is just one webinar. There are many more webinars in this series. You have all the information, you have all the access to get more questions, loads of help articles, and then also remember that many of these things do come intuitively as you set up your campaign. I've had calls where I've set up an agency from no knowledge to running a successful smart display campaign meeting, or in setting up a successful smart display campaign, or successful responsive search ad, or responsive display ad, or dynamic search ad in literally 1 minute. So super straightforward, super helpful, and super duper saves you a lot of time. Do we have maybe 1 question I can take? Let's see. Seems like we have most of the things covered. Seems like we have most of them covered. Maybe let's also just take time to let me know what you've learned, or what has been helpful, or what explanation you've particularly keyed on, or that you've particularly, what was new, what was exciting, what was sort of mind-blowing for you all through the training. Let me just pause for that. Keys. Do we have anything? Someone says, is there a checklist to understand whether my site is ready for DSAs? I wouldn't say there's particularly a checklist, but I will say that if you run your DSAs, you should be able to compare performance, right? You should be able to see if it's working well or not, and then how your DSAs are performing. Then is there a way we can learn more about what budgets are right for certain countries, counties, cities, competition levels, and general activity? There is a way to do that. It's a little bit more technical, but really quickly, if you go into your account, go to campaigns, take a look at cost per conversion. Cost per conversion tells you exactly how much you're paying per 1 conversion. That's a really good base for you to say, okay, I want to get 1,000 conversions this month. Then you go back and you multiply. So starting with your cost per conversion, or CPA, cost per acquisition. If you want to go via clicks, cost per click, that's a really good way. You start from there, and then how many conversions do you want? Then you multiply. So I am going to stop here. I've had a really wonderful time talking to you all and walking you through this entire process. Remember, if you have questions, you can continue your learning online, book a live webinar, and just join us on this entire series, right? Thank you all so much. Thank you so much for being a wonderful and interactive audience. It was nice connecting. Hopefully see you soon at one of our events again. All right. Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.